Hello everyone, True Zero Emissions here. Okay, we're going to talk about a couple different ways of running an electric vehicle, whether it be an electric bicycle or some kind of micro-mobility or an electric car. It could be anything. We're going to talk about a couple different ways of doing that, okay? Now, if a person happens to not believe in free energy and just thinks it doesn't work, you can still do these experiments and they'll still work for you. So, and if they don't work, I would keep trying. I wouldn't just give up, because it just means that something has to be changed, right? And keep trying, try something a little bit different. Okay, the most efficient way to charge a battery is when it's not under load, right? That's what I keep hearing that. So what that means is, let's say we have, I'm going to use an electric car as an example. Let's say an electric vehicle has two sets of batteries, two battery packs, right? One battery pack is powering the circuit, the circuit powering the electric car. The other battery pack is being charged, okay? So it's going to take energy to run that generator, because we're going to have a generator on the electric vehicle, right, that charges the battery that's not currently connected to the vehicle. It's just charging only, right? So there's two batteries. This what I'm talking about right now is separate from this. It's separate from my experiment here. Imagine there's two batteries. They're high voltage, okay? And those are being charged. So let's say they're 400 volts. I'm just throwing a number out there. Let's say we have two 400 volt batteries, and let's say we have an electric vehicle, and one of those batteries is powering the electric vehicle, and the other battery is being charged by the electric vehicle. Now, the idea is that we can extend the range of that electric vehicle by charging the battery that's not connected to the that's not powering the electric vehicle, right? Now, the other way to do it, and this has been achieved, even though people will say it cannot be done, and I've even talked to people that know free energy works, and they even have free energy circuits, meaning they can get range extension, right? They can get extended range where you're not supposed to be able to. I mean, what does that mean anyway? What does that mean? I don't even know what that means, because anytime we do something, someone's going to say that can't be done, right? So that just exists out there. I don't know what else to say about that, but it's really important to experiment, and I'm going to share some ideas with you today. So what I'm sharing with you is, imagine an electric vehicle. Now imagine that same electric vehicle, and let's connect those two 400 volt batteries. I think that's what we said, 400 volts, in parallel, right? That means that keeps the voltage but doubles the capacity. And we could have one of those, or we can have both of those put together in parallel. It doesn't matter. I'm just saying, if we already have a vehicle with two sets of batteries, this is another experiment we can do. How do we charge those batteries? Okay, many experimenters say, not all of them, and some of the best also will say, you can't do this, it can't be done. And I always run into this. I know people and talk with people that have done impossible things, and they themselves will still believe there's so much that's impossible. And I'm like, wow, you just never know, right? You just never know how someone feels about what can be done, right? It doesn't mean don't try it. It doesn't mean don't keep experimenting. So one of the ways that has been achieved with extending the range of an electric vehicle, and even students have achieved this. Engineering students working with their teachers have achieved this all throughout the world, actually, is putting alternators on an electric vehicle, okay? Now, people can say, oh, but it takes so much energy to power those alternators. It's going to put a load on the motor, on the electric motor, and that's going to slow the electric vehicle down. And because charging the same battery that we're using to power the load, to power the electric motor, is so much less efficient, it'll never work, right? Because it's like 10 times less efficient to charge the battery that's powering the electric vehicle. Right? It's 10 times more efficient to charge a separate battery that's not presently under load. Okay, that's a really good way to extend the range of your electric bike or whatever you may have, is to charge a battery that's not connected to the electric micromobility or electric vehicle, right? But it also has been achieved that the electric vehicle has gone farther with alternators. Now, it must be a minimum of 4. Now, I have heard that by having more than 4 alternators, it still works. In fact, it just has extra energy. But 4 is the lowest number, okay? Now, I did look up online and I saw some students and professors that worked together they built an electric motorcycle and they put alternators on it, and they just wanted to prove, it seems, I think this is what they're trying to prove, is that they can get more range. They wanted to know. I don't know if they were proving it or just trying to see what's possible. They just wanted to know, could they get a little bit more range than if the alternators were not connected to the electric motorcycle, right? Because if they could, then that just went beyond our known physics, right? It doesn't violate the laws of physics. You can't violate the laws of physics. That's impossible. Well, it's not. I don't want to use the word impossible, but there's no such thing as violating laws of physics. All you can do is update the theories, because physics are theories. They're theories and principles, right? It's not a law where you can't ever change it and it can't ever be updated, right? So it's a theory. It's like a conclusion. So saying that someone violated the laws of physics, or someone saying that you can't do something, that's not physics. That's not science. Saying that something's impossible, that's not science. That's not practicing science. You're practicing giving your opinion. There's a big difference between practicing giving your opinion and practicing science, because practicing science is to say, what happens if I do this? And I'm going to write it down, right? Write down the results. What happens if I do that? What happens if I change this? What happens if I change that? That's science. So what is all these people on YouTube and on Google saying you're a stupid idiot if you try this, you're a jackass, and there's all these names, like there's so many mean names for people that might be thinking about trying something different. By the way, that motorcycle is wasting 60% of the energy to making heat. 40%, between 11% and 40% is moving that motorcycle. The energy and the fuel, 11% to 40% is moving that. Now, this electric bike is way more efficient than that. This is over 90% efficient at taking the energy in the battery and making the bicycle move, and less than 10% lost to friction and heat. Okay, less than 10% lost. On internal combustion engine, it doesn't matter if it's a hybrid or what it is. If it has a gas engine, that gas engine is 60% or more inefficient, okay? So between 60% and 89% inefficient. Imagine 89% inefficient. Why are we even using that kind of technology? Well, you have a choice. People say you have a choice. It's your choice. So I'm choosing to experiment and see what can be done. That's what I do. I consider that practicing science, because science is exploring, trying things, see what happens, write down the notes. So this channel is kind of like my journal, where I just document what I'm doing and you get to see it. Isn't that wonderful? Now, some people get really, really upset that I don't let everyone write in my journal, which is my YouTube channel. And there was a time that I allowed that, and I'm just focused on my experiments right now. So it's nothing against anyone. I appreciate everyone's attention to their growth process of learning. That's why I guess why you're watching this video, is because you want to stimulate your imagination and see what's possible. And I highly recommend anything you can imagine, as long as it doesn't hurt anybody and doesn't hurt yourself. Anything that you can imagine, especially if it contributes to efficiency, go for it. I would say go for it. And like I was saying earlier, some of the fun things to do with this circuit. This is the loving giving path. You could look up Rick Friedrich on YouTube, loving giving path. And when you have a high voltage battery and a low voltage battery, you could send that charge over to the other battery by connecting the two negatives together and then running a load through the positive. One wire, through the positive wire, you can run a load. This motor is running off of just the positive wire. Would you believe that if I showed you that? Let me show you. Here's the output from the pulse width modulator, right? This is the positive and this is the negative. The negative goes straight to this battery. Okay? By the way, what's powering the pulse width modulator is this battery. This battery is powering the pulse width modulator, as you can see right here. Okay? That's the input, those two. That's input. Output for the motor, the negative goes straight to the battery that I'm charging, and the positive wire right here, see that? That goes to the motor, and then on the output, on the negative wire of the motor, that goes to the positive of the battery that I'm charging. So I'm charging that battery with this big battery at the rate of powering this load. So if it takes 4 amps or 5 amps to run this, which it doesn't, I don't even know what it's taking. It's probably taking half an amp right now. But I could turn that up. And I could also put a bigger load here. I could short this out, which would cause this to be harder to turn. And then the amps would increase to turn this, and if it took 5 or 10 amps to turn this, that would be charging at 5 or 10 amps, right? But we never want to exceed the capabilities of a battery. So we never want to overcharge a battery when it's lithium, especially when it's lithium. With lead acid batteries, I've heard people getting a 12-volt lead acid battery up to 40 volts. I'm not recommending doing that, and I think you'd have to look that up yourself. Look up Loving Giving Path and look at those circuits. There's no reason, I don't think it was a goal to try to get high voltage out of a 12-volt battery. I don't think that was a goal. I think it just happened. And I don't know if that always happens, but is that even necessary? Is that even needed? What we're looking at here is different ways to charge batteries. I'm interested in all the different ways that I can charge a battery, and I'm just sharing those ideas with you. So make YouTube videos, share your ideas. I look forward to seeing your videos on your battery charging experiments and variations of the Loving Giving Path circuit, which comes from a master, an absolute electrical engineer master. That's the origins of that circuit, and it's well known and well practiced. Okay, everyone, see you in the next video. Bye.